Hey guys, this is Greg Howe coming at you with the Greg Howe Lick Box. This is Carl Martin's pedal that I worked on with them, and I think personally that this is the coolest pedal that there is. It's basically three pedals in one, and I'm going to take you through some of the different features. Basically, I mean, if you think about the front of an amp, and think about a situation where you would sometimes want a little bit of a boost on a clean, you would want a cool rhythm tone that cuts through and has a nice, clear, open sort of quality to it, and then a super saturation tone for you guys that are into like metal and real aggressive stuff, and pretty much every situation in between all that. Anything, basically this will cover all of that in front of a straight clean amplifier. So you wouldn't even have to start necessarily with a high gain amp. You could be in any situation. Someone could just hand you a Fender Twin and you've got to do a Metallica covers or something. You'll be set. You'll be set in any situation. So this is the Lick Box. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start with the boost area. Now think of this really as three separate pedals in one. That's one of the cool things about this. You can eliminate some of the stuff off your current pedal board, and just get this, and you'll be set. So this is basically a boost. Anybody who's familiar with a boost switch just knows that what's really happening is you're taking a sound, whatever your sort of clean signal is, or whatever your signal is, but in this case, I'm using a clean tone. And we're just sort of enhancing that. We're just sort of exaggerating the frequencies and the sort of tonal quality of the whole thing with a boost. So in this case, I don't have much. This boost can go pretty much all the way into overdrive mode if you wanted it to. But we're just going to add a little bit. So let's get the comparison. That's just straight clean amplifier. And click that on, and you'll hear right away. There's a little more grit to it. It's got a little more behind it. And for me, it's nice because if I'm doing this type of thing, just a simple, you'll really hear the attack difference with it. So it just brings it alive a little bit more, and I like that. I never really ever play with a totally clean tone. Even the clean tones you hear on my albums have a little dirt behind them. I like a little bit of push. So this brings it almost exactly the way I like it, or actually it does bring it exactly the way I like it. And you can see it's hardly even pushing anything. So there's way more of that if we wanted more. I probably wouldn't push it much past that. But just for the sake of seeing what it's capable of, you can hear. So anyway, that gives you an idea of just how far the boost sort of melts into overdrive mode. There's way more there than you'll likely ever need, but it's nice to have too much than not enough. All right, so we are going to move on to crunch mode. That's this one. I'm going to once again go back to, I'm on my second position, or some people call it the fourth position. It's basically this pickup split with this one. And usually when I'm not playing lead guitar, and I'm playing some kind of rhythmic thing, that's usually where I'm at, somewhere there, or maybe the other second and fourth position one. So here's what we've got tone-wise. And this would be like the thicker, more aggressive version of rhythm guitar that I would use. So I'm just going to click in the crunch mode. You can see these particular settings for me are both around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And it brings a nice, just just a nice, I don't even know how to describe it, it's a really cool, if I back off my volume a little bit, I can still get a lot of the, a lot of the stuff that I would typically play totally clean, I can still, you know, I can still get with this, with a little more dirt on it. So that's crunch mode. If I go full on bridge pickup, then it starts to get into AC/DC land, which is a nice, you know, open, real, you know, that cool, open, natural, sort of classic rock distortion, and it's really authentic. All right, so let's move on to the high gain channel. This is honestly like instant aggressive guitar, instant heavy metal, instant amp modification. Your amp goes from this to this. So you could hear, I mean, there's way more gain here than you'll probably ever need, depending on the music you're playing or what you're doing. Not much more to say about it other than instant heavy metal with great tone. So that's the high gain. There you have it. All right, so one of the things I mentioned earlier is that with 3 different pedals, there's probably an endless number of combinations and just a ridiculous number of combinations that you could try out between EQing and gain stages and these different sort of, you know, various gain switches. You can pretty much dial in anything that you can think of. So if you have enough time and if you're a tweak guy like me, you'll have a blast just you know, testing things out and seeing what works with what. Boost with this, maybe this with the boost, maybe this with this, boost with this, all 3 of them on. So what I like basically is this combination when I'm, as in general. I mean, obviously when I say this, I mean as a foundational starting point. Depending on the amp, I'm going to tweak things, and I may want less gain. If it's in front of that amp, I may want a little more gain. If it's in front of this amp, I may want the boost on in some cases. But I'm going to turn these 2 on because this sort of represents what I generally go for, which is, you know, a very singing quality, a very, you know, violinish-esque type of thing. Just smooth, you know, something that doesn't sound real crunchy, but feels very crunchy, feels like it's got a lot of power behind it. And that's generally how I play. Because as you've probably noticed, I don't do a lot of picking. A lot of it's hammer-ons and pull-offs. A lot of it's just... And you can hear the attack and the smoothness at the same time. So the notes are real clear. Everything is very, you know, even. But it's also very comfortable. It's very easy. And for all the like goofy, it's real smooth. Again, real violin-y. I don't feel like I have to work super hard, and I'm never in a situation really where the amp is so wrong that I can't make this work. This really solves any issue I have ever had. So that would be basically the closest thing to the representing what I like in tone. And it's really only one of, again, an endless variation of tones that you could get out of this. But experiment on your own. Try the boost, try boost with some of these other ones. This is the boost switch with this. I've actually never tried this before. This is the first time on camera you witness it first. Really does add another dimension to it. There's a low mid. That's kind of a nice sound as well. So yeah, I don't know what else to say except if you get this, you're going to be happy because you can basically do anything you want as far as tone goes. Greg Howe Lickbox by Carl Martin. Check it out. You'll like it.